Did you know that there is a capital city that was built for millions of people but remains empty? And from a massive hotel in two of the least visited countries in the world to a revolutionary project that ended up wasting millions of dollars? In this video, we'll bring you up with the top 5 most useless mega projects in the world. But before we continue, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Now, let's begin the video. Number 5. Interstate History, Hawaii. Let's start with the breathtaking highway in the Aloha State, Hawaii. The 26 kilometers long interstate history passes through one of the most stunning landscapes in the world. However, the highway is as controversial as it is beautiful. It was first proposed in the 1960s with defense considerations in mind, as the highway will connect to the Pearl Harbor Naval Base on the south side to the Marine Corps Air Station on the east coast. The announcement of its construction was immediately met with resistance from environmental groups as well as native Hawaiians who were worried about the massive urbanization the project will bring. Environmental laws of the time and a change of road to protect the surrounding valleys delayed the plan indefinitely. 26 years later, the environmental hurdles were removed when the Congress exempted the project from environmental laws and cleared the way for construction to finally begin in 1989. Decades of delays, road changes, and newer but more expensive technology meant that it was completely 5 times over the estimated budget. The total cost of the construction was $1.3 billion, which is about $50 million per kilometer, the most expensive cost per kilometer in the world. Despite the crazy budget, this beautiful highway isn't useful for everyone. The native Hawaiians, a majority of whom refuse to use the history to this day. They considered it to be cursed, as many religiously significant cultural sites were destroyed during its completion. At least, it isn't completely abandoned like the next project on our list. Number 4. Brazil's controversial stadium in the rainforest. Brazil famously hosted the 2014 World Cup for countries so obsessed with it. It was a pretty big deal. However, the country needed a lot of renovations to be ready for the showpiece event. In total, Brazil had to build 12 new football stadiums and renovate some old ones. This massive mega project was going to cost Brazil a total of $11 billion. But despite the immense cost, the country was looking forward to showing its passion for the sport to the whole world. But as in many countries that host the World Cup, these huge mega projects are not necessarily economically viable in the long run. The whole project didn't make any economic sense. But the most obvious was the construction of the Arena de Amazonia in Manaus. I don't know if I'm actually pronouncing it right, but yeah. Which took 4 years to build and cost around $25 million. $250 million. The construction itself was a no easy task. Manaus is Brazil's 7th largest city, but it's located in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. This location poses difficult challenges in moving large amounts of goods. Many of the materials were shipped from Portugal and navigated through the Amazon River. This entire journey took 3 weeks, which made the construction process even costly. But the problems were much deeper, as it only hosted 4 matches. The revenue generated from these few games was obviously nowhere near the spending. After the 4 World Cup games, the stadium was rarely used. The local clubs simply don't have enough fan base to fill out the 40,000 seat arena, and is the only reminder of how the money to build it could have changed the lives of many Manaus residents. Number 3. China's abandoned ghost city. China's rise as a major economic power in the early 20s was accompanied by a real estate boom. Mega projects sprung all over the country, and its major cities became home to some of the world's most famous skyscrapers. However, not all the projects were a success. In fact, China has accumulated plenty of ghost cities that cost billions to build but have largely been empty. the Xianghyun International Project. It is an 1800-acre development in Xianghyun that was dubbed as a city within a city. Developed at a cost of $3 billion, the project consisted of two parts: a bigger high-end residential community with apartments and theme parks, and a smaller commercial hub containing shopping complexes and skyscrapers. So how did this enormous project ended up abandoned with almost no population? Well, when the project was first announced, there was a lot of positive excitement. 700 house units were quickly sold, but in 2014, the construction was stopped suddenly as the real estate company behind the project was put under investigation by the local authorities. By 2017, the charges of corruption were proved and the main developer landed in jail. Consequently, the property prices saw a sharp decline and the company declared bankruptcy. As of now, thousands of homeowners have not been able to move in. The half-finished development remains unused to this day, and the already developed areas have started to becoming worse. Strangely, traffic can be heard roaring across the streets just outside the district, but inside it paints a picture of a ghost town that is only inhabited by stray animals. These days, the Xianghyun International Project is more of a tourist attraction than a residential development. Number 2. Delta Skelter. I hate sitting in traffic. Someone needs to hurry up and invent a teleporter so I never get stuck during rush hour again. Well, China might have made the next best thing, the HZMB bridge system. It has reduced the transportation time between three of the world's most popular cities, Hong Kong, Zhuhai, and Macau, from 4 hours to just 30 minutes. It's the longest sea crossing in the world. At over 34 miles long, meaning it could stretch the entire width of Los Angeles and still have bridge to spare. So what's the catch? Well, considering the whole thing cost a stunning $18.8 billion, you would imagine that it will be put to good use. But hardly anyone actually drives down it. You need a crossing permit. It's almost impossible to obtain it. Weird. Only high-tech investors, top academics, or politicians are even considered for the permits, and your vehicle must be registered in all 3 cities. Even then, the daily limit for applicants is only 400. That's hella stingy. It seems that they are doing everything they can to stop us from crossing it. Something seems suspicious to me. What do you think? Let me down in the comments. Number 1. Neptuda, Myanmar. Pro Megaproject that made into the top tier. Unfortunately, this isn't just a remote airport, it's the capital of Myanmar, a new capital that was built from scratch. Myanmar's former military leadership started building a new capital in secret in 2002. The shifting of a country's capital isn't unheard of, as many countries including Brazil, Egypt, and Pakistan have done so in the past. The secret capital city was named Neptuda, which literally means the king's residence. The reason for this sudden shift of capital wasn't clear. Some speculated that the military leadership was fearful of an attack from the sea. However, a lot of it had to do with the former capital Yangon. Yangon is home to 7 million people. The city is said to reach its infrastructural limits and its population is set to double by 2050. So, it made sense for Myanmar to shift the capital to a more central location. The new project was built swiftly, and to this date, the success governor poured $4 billion to the city. Neptuda has everything to attract visitors: a 20-lane highway, over 100 luxury hotels, museums, and more. But there's one essential component that remains missing: the population. The new capital is home to less than 1 million residents. But why does no one to live there? A lingering gap in health facilities, lack of quality educational institutes, and economic opportunities mean that most of the population is reluctant to make the city a permanent home. So, the city often paints the picture of a deserted place and is often referred to as the ghost city. The incredible 20-lane highway is practically empty. The city has an airport that can handle 3.5 million passengers every year, but on a busy day, a dozen people will actually use it. However, it's built as the city of the future, and with the exploding population, Nepuda still has time for an inevitable redemption. But for now, it's arguably the world's strangest capital and remains useless for much of the population. Which of these mega projects do you think should have been a mega reject? Let me know down in the comments below, and thanks for watching.